Where's the sound trip ever taken?
Boss, you ain't live till you got a head from a vampire.
Not anymore.
So you're trying to tell me that all these deaths are accidental? Must think we're all idiots here or something.
Oh, really?
There we go. Hey, welcome back. Back with another Adduber. Once again, continuing down our foreign horror films. This time, we're going to jump from South Korea over to Taiwan for another horror film. Another zombie-esque type movie. The Sadness from 2021.
And no, he's not going to do this the whole time. God, I hope not.
God, I wouldn't be able to. The Sadness for 2021. I'm going to say right off the bat, starting this episode, I will give a warning to everyone who's thinking maybe they want to watch this. If you're somebody who doesn't handle being uncomfortable or seeing things that will make you feel very uncomfortable, don't watch this. All right? I enjoy it. It is a great zombie horror movie for what it is. But there's a lot in here that will make you very, very uncomfortable. They push the envelope boundary quite a bit with this movie.
I think they burst through it in a couple of parts. Yeah.
So let's get into it. So The Sadness for 2021. Director Rob Jabez. Fun fact, he's not Taiwanese. He was a Canadian film director who had done some small things and then was offered to do this. And he's like, you know what? This is my first big actual debut movie. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Now, I'm betting somewhere back there there's no way they're going to let me do this shit in Canada.
Oh, well, let's look at the background details, shall we? So one thing I do like about this movie, and I found it in the detailed notes about it, which is something I kind of figured, but with the way movies go, you never really know. But 99% practical effects. There was not much CGI they used at all. It's like the beginning and a few things here and there. But they only had a certain amount for budget. So Rob very much was like, we need to do things as best we can to stay within budget. And yes, there is cheap CGI, but he didn't want to do the cheapest CGI you possibly could because everything else looks great. So why cheap out there? So he just made it very minimal so they could make it look the way that he needed it to and not blow the fucking bank to do so. This is another one that was filmed extremely short. This was filmed over 28 days, which is fucking insane. They filmed this in just shy of a month.
And unlike the last one where we talked about Train to Busan being in one location primarily, this one appears to be in multiple locations.
Appears. So here's the thing.
I know that's what it's like they do do that in Hollywood and stuff where they use a warehouse and they have it broken down into sections and you have your town section and your room section and whatever. So yeah.
So this movie very much borrowed from things that were going on in this year specifically. because this is 2021. I don't know if people remember 2021
or coming out of 2020, to be more specific, actually.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody, if we care to go back that far and people remember what that was like.
Is 2020 over yet? I'm not sure.
I don't think it is. I think it's still coming. But yeah, because due to the pandemic, the subway and the hospital had to be built on sets because it was during the pandemic. During the pandemic, they were filming, so the subway and the hospital would not allow them to film there because you can only have so many people, extra spaces, XYZ. So they had to build the sets to be able to do them. So yes, that is why there are some things. Here's something that might explain a little bit of why this movie pushes the envelope on certain things. It was funded mostly by cryptocurrency and one of the producers is a cam girl on the side, so she used the funding from her cam girl job to also help fund in on their movie. Fun. I saw that and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That's how this movie was funded? So as much as there is a lot of the Backstreet Boys return concert, as one of my favorite channels put it, while that was going on, he also pulled inspiration making this story from a comic series that I've heard of. I actually had a coworker who was reading it and was telling me about it, called Crossed, which is just a whole basically the same exact concept, except that instead of people getting a virus, I guess it's technically still a virus, but there's a thing spreading throughout the world, and people get like a red X on their head, and they do the worst things imaginable, and they just keep doing it. Unlike this movie where it's like the crying, whatever, for them it's literally just a giant red X comes on the head, and then people just do horrible fucking things and laugh about it. So he took inspiration from that, plus the Backstreet Boys reunion tour going on, and was like, we combine these two ideas, I think there's an idea. He is right. Also shouldn't be surprising with how this fucking movie goes. The German license group, Cape Light, had to submit the film 3 times for an R rating, or as it's put, no one under 18, to get it into theaters. And the uncut video version that was put on streaming in various places was rejected for getting any kind of rating. For good reason. This movie was being placed with the NC-17, which means it's not going to be able to be played fucking anywhere. And they were like, let's not do that. Let's get it a real rating so it can actually be in a theater. How about that?
Though the not rated online version is perfectly fine. I'm okay with that,
Yeah, I'm definitely fine with it. There was also a scene in the movie that was removed. They had a scene where someone was getting open brain surgery, and then an infected comes in and were to defecate into the wound. Rob said, quote, "We left it on the cutting room floor because we couldn't stop laughing. We thought it was way too funny to keep in there. However, I have left it open for anyone who wants to use it. You can go ahead and grab it and use it." So apparently he has that scene shot, and if anyone else wants to take it, you can have it. So let's get into this. Get into the sadness. This is a fucking movie, folks. So this movie opens up with the CGI, what little bit of CGI they did use. This opens up showing a virus attacking DNA and showing that it's like manipulating cells and coding them in things, and it's showing you that what this virus is. It's not a good time. No one's going to have a good time. It's going to be a bad time. From here, we cut to our young couple, Jim and Kat, Yeah, that's right. They don't have Taiwanese names. They're just Jim and Kat, because this guy was Canadian. He's just like, Jim. So, Jim and Kat cuddling up in the morning, enjoying their little, the little morning sleep there. We get a look around the apartment, small little apartment. We got goldfish, some pictures. It's typical stuff. Kat wakes up scolding Jim because her alarm goes off, and she complains at him that he always seems to wake up before her alarm, and it's like a whole, just little exchanges here and there. But this turns into an argument because Kat brings up that they have their trip coming up next week. They're going to go on a couples trip, enjoy some time together. And Jim goes, ooh, yeah, about that. I took a job offer. I took a job offer from this German ad company, and they're filming next week. I meant to talk to you about that today. Ooh. And she gets mad at him because she only gets so much time off, so it was very hard to plan it all. And he's like, look, I haven't been able to find much work. I really need it. This was an opportunity that came up. I can't really pass up on it. I understand both sides of the argument. They both have a point. I get where they're both coming from. It's, it's not one of those where, like, one person's ultimately right and the other's wrong. Like, no, they both have good points. Like, for him, it seems like he's, running ad commercials, things like that. If he hasn't really been able to get good work, I get why he'd want to take it. But then also to her point, if you only get, like, 10 days off a year, I get why you'd be pretty mad that he just decided, like, nah, I took a job. Understandable. Yeah, so they go through all that. Jim ends up getting up while Kat's getting ready. He gets some breakfast. He feeds the goldfish. He watches a YouTube video because people are debating if the Allen virus, and let me tell you folks, this gave me flashbacks to another thing that happened in our old world. But it's about the Alvin virus.
I like the Alvin. I was waiting for Simon and Theodore, but
right. I thought the same thing. I was waiting for somebody to be like Alvin. That's how they should have ended the movie. The virus has unused proteins that put it in line with the family of rabies, and that the virus could mutate, and that we should all be more careful. And then it just turns into exactly the kind of things we saw in 2020, where people are like, that's not true. This is all politics. And
it's a hoax, yeah. This movie very much correlates with what happened during COVID. It really does. The filmmaker did it on purpose. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That was his intention.
A lot of the terminology used and stuff was straight from what we went through.
Yes.
Yeah.
He walks out to his balcony and he sees some kind of older woman standing up on her roof, very creepily, and she has blood on, looks like her stomach area, and he's like, what's going on with that? That's weird. Yeah. But
oh, you missed out the part where he does the intelligent thing and does, "Hey, are you okay?" and lets her know where he's at. Of course, he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, he does. Old woman disappears. Kat comes and talks to him for a minute about getting ready, and she has to finish getting ready to go to work. While he's standing there, though, he has a chat with his neighbor, Mr. Lin, who I found out in the facts behind the scenes, whatever. Apparently, he's actually big for doing Taiwanese commercials. So the guy who plays Mr. Lin, apparently he does a shit ton of Taiwanese commercials. So in Taiwan, apparently he's a very well-known person for these little grocery store things that he does. It was a little tidbit in the facts, and I was like, I never would have guessed that, but all right, that's neat.
So in Taiwan, he's the guy who squeezes the Sherman for you old people. Yeah.
basically. So they have a casual conversation about the Eldon thing, because Mr. Lin has a cold. He thinks it's just a cold. Taking care of his little garden, and he tells Jim, like, hey, I've got a ton of extra Thai basil. I'll drop you off some tonight after I get it all trimmed up. And he's like, cool, sounds great. And then him and Kat head off, and he's taking Kat to work. It's a very, very good time. All right, yeah. Also important to know here that Jim throws his phone on the charger before he leaves. He does not take it with him. Throws it on the charger because it's almost dead. This is why I charge my phone at night, because I don't know, just in case of an emergency like that. Anyway, so they head off to work. After he dropped... Also, what the fuck does Kat do? That was the only thing in this movie I was confused about, is what the fuck is her actual job? I don't think they
never really
showed
did
her at a
figure it out.
job.
No, they didn't. Yeah.
Like, as I'm watching this, I'm like, I don't think they ever showed us what the fuck
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No.
So if anybody's wondering, I have no idea what this woman's job is. They do not show it, and they don't really seem to implicate what she might do. I don't know. I guess she just rides the subway. I don't know.
Well, I guess the point is that it didn't have anything to do with the story. In the end of it, yeah.
After Jim drops Kate off at work, or Cat off at work, then he heads off back to town towards the apartment, grabs some coffee, grabs some breakfast, chat with a buddy. Happy fun time. Happy fun time. This movie's about to get real fucked up really, really quick.
Just to point out, your camera's off, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, while he's he's waiting for his food, his coffee, the old woman from earlier comes back, and she stands at the counter real creepy-like. Paul, maybe you'd like to tell the people, because you're the one who brought this up of like, oh man, do you remember that scene? This scene here was the whole thing he brought up that was like, we're going to cover that.
Where did I actually talk about this scene? Where did I talk about this scene?
Yes, you did.
Well, this is the the one guy, they point out that she's weird, so somebody walks over there and tries to, ma'am, are you okay? She turns around, takes a bite out of him, and then she turns around and I don't know how she did this, because it really doesn't make sense for placement. She was in a position, I thought she was more on the open. All of a sudden she's grabbing the fryer basket and tossing it on the guy's head.
So the guy who checks on her, I don't know what she was chewing on.
Yeah.
Or if she vomited and then spit it. Either way, she spits some
shit.
She
spit on him. She spit on him. Yeah.
And post credit, she's like at the counter, and there's the fry. There's like the like grill, and then the deep fryer, and she's like way up at the front. But regardless, she reaches around the counter and grabs a fry basket and just douses this poor worker's face in hot fucking oil.
And I will say, I know what you mean, because this is the scene that sets the movie off, and it happens. I mean, this movie goes from 0 to 600 in like 0.3 seconds.
Yeah,
okay, because
there's
from here
nothing
on out,
going on until now.
From here on out, it does not stop. It doesn't stop for an instant.
Yeah, you get like first maybe 10 minutes where it's just this cute couple. Like, oh, look at this cute couple. Are they great? And then it's a dude getting his face melted by boiling oil while an old lady just scrapes off his skin and laughs about it. It goes so hard.
And then more people start to get infected quickly around the area, and it just basically starts to go nuts.
The first First person to get infected was the person that she spit in his face.
Right.
Because he starts stabbing the friend that he came with a fork.
Yeah.
Jim stumbles outside because the old woman starts following him, and he doesn't know what the fuck she's going to do to him. She gets hit by a car, and then the person in the car is also infected, and then Jim sees that everyone is infected as people are falling off
I love
roofs.
the guy in the car going, you know, he's having a good old time.
She walked right out in front of me. You saw it.
I will say, one thing I like about these quote infected is they very much know what they're doing. That is something
we'll get to later.
They are not.
There's some details.
They are not zombies. They just want to hurt each other or hurt.
Yeah,
you know.
this is a very unique zombie film. It's not like Train to Busan. They're not mindless. They still very much have every cognitive ability. They are just
right. Yeah. They like I mentioned, they understand how things work. They can still drive. They can still do this stuff. They can, it's so I wouldn't even classify them as zombies so much as just, they're like you said, if they're based on the comic book where they just do these things to do them.
Yes,
I think it's basically that same thing. It's like this is their innermost, letting out their inner. Yeah.
I know enough about the Crossed comic from my coworker that this was basically that comic series made into a movie, because even Crossed is a virus that causes the stuff to go on. But Jim, he turns out also he parked his moped at the coffee shop, but he runs to his apartment. So the apartment was not that far. But anyway, he gets back to his apartment.
And I'd say that, this is a very rabid. This is a derivative of a rabid reaction. This is just like when your dog goes rabid, starts attacking you for no apparent fucking reason.
Yes. He gets to his apartment, locks the door, starts going through the TV to see what's going on. Everything's an emergency broadcast station, which is never a good sign, ever.
No.
Except for one cartoon that's playing, and I did find out that was actually a animation that Rob himself had done a few years prior for some other kind of thing that he was doing, and then he just reused it to have it on the screen. Jim starts texting Kat about what's going on and to tell her to be safe. Don't come home. He'll just come to her, and they'll figure out what to do from there. This poor dude. While he's texting Kat, he catches a reflection in the corner of the TV screen because Mr. Lin has decided to stop by, and it's like, oh, is he going to give him that Thai basil he promised? Kinda. Maybe. He just starts attacking him with a pair of hedge clippers. Just big ol' shears.
Yeah.
And Jim starts fighting back. But unfortunately, he's holding a blade, so Mr. Lin gets a very creepy grin on his face and just snaps his two fingers off that are inside the blade, which... yeah, I should have seen that coming. Hold on to the blade like that. But it's not even enough that he just chops off the two fingers. He also chews on one and then spits it into the goldfish tank, just as extra measure. He makes some crude comments about Jim's girlfriend, so then Jim says, you know what? That's a bridge too far. You can take my fingers, but don't you dare talk about Kat. And he smashes him in the face with a toaster. Just whip down. God damn. Runs back to the coffee shop with his keys, gets on the moped. Bit of a tenseness here because he sees that there's a group of them sitting around a dead body, and he's like, I don't want to take that guy's place. So let's get this started, shall we?
Yeah.
Gets the moped started, starts riding off throughout the city, and we see that he's getting chased by just a giant mob of infected. Just everyone that is nearby that hears that moped going after him. Also, before he gets to the moped as well, he also sees a trio of people torturing a poor man on some stairs as they, like, force his arm out and then break his fucking elbow in half. And it's brutal. This movie gets worse. This is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
So all that's going on, right? Jim's on a moped. He's headed towards the city where he knows Kat is. He's going to try to save her. Heartwarming. It's real heartfelt story. So meanwhile, Kat's on the subway getting harassed by some old man for, just because, fuck it. Switch gears. That's how this movie works.
Okay.
Kat's on the subway. This guy's name in the, like, character casting is Businessman. But it's not even businessman like business. It's like BIZNES man. And I was like, why? Why? You could have just said the businessman. Why are we spelling it weird? And everywhere it's spelled like that. So that was like specifically in his scripting. That is how he did it.
Why not? I mean,
I don't know, folks. I'm only telling you what I've found.
I mean, it's better than putting what he did and naming him any hole when you're horny, because,
So she meets Businessman, who very soon in the scenes, he will become like I'll call him the main antagonist infected, because we're going to see a lot more of him compared to anyone else. But so he starts bugging Kat about her book, what's she reading, what's she doing, see you on the train all the time, and you seem like you're a very busy person, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I think you're very beautiful. I decided today was the day I was going to tell you. And then Kat, not wanting to be bothered, just tells him, like, hey, I've told you to leave me alone like 3 times now. If you don't stop, I'm going to report you for sexual harassment. So leave me alone. Of course, this does not sit well with the businessman, who begins to just bitch and complain about what the hell's wrong with people. You can't even talk to people anymore. Can't socialize or have a conversation anymore. I fucking wish. I'd love to be able to go somewhere and have people not try to talk to me. I'm somebody that anywhere I go, everyone wants to talk to me. And I'm like, just let me fucking shop, for the love of God.
I bet you I've got a story that you can't top. So when I was younger, I used to have to take the Greyhound, the bus, or not Greyhound, but regional transit to get to where I wanted to go. So one day I get on there, and for some reason everybody thinks it's okay to sit next to. The lady sits next to me and goes, you know what? I'm handicapped too. You just can't see it. Get away from me. Okay.
Ma'am, I don't know what that means. And I don't want to know what that means. So you can go away.
Yeah,
great.
I'm the same way, because I look friendly. Everybody thinks it's okay. Like no.
Me and my dad.
When I wish I had that resting bitch face that says "leave me alone."
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like, me and my dad both have that thing where, like, people just fucking talk to us. We're just like, who the fuck are you? Why are you talking to me? I don't know. I don't know what it is. It just happens. It happens to me way too often.
Yeah.
Like for instance, me and my dad working at Hy-Vee supermarket in Nebraska. There was a dude that came in. He was a very creepy dude. We all thought he was super creepy. He'd come in all the time, buy a couple things, and then, like, just linger around to talk to people. He would go out of his way to find my father and talk to him. And every time my dad would be like, God fucking damn it, how does he find me? He's like, I was even in the bathroom when he fucking showed up there. All because my dad came in on his day off and was wearing a Meshuggah shirt, and the dude's like, oh, I love that band, yeah, and it would not leave my dad alone after that.
Oh no,
It's
I've
just
had
a
this because some people who are lonely, once they find out that they can talk to you one time, all of a sudden you're their best friend, so they search you out. I've had a couple of homeless people do that with me. You know, just because I'm nice to you one time doesn't mean that I want you showing up at my. I don't want you showing up at my house asking if you can come in and watch TV. No. And you laugh, but I've had that happen. No, I've seriously had that happen. You know, because I was nice one time because if I see somebody who's homeless or looks like I will offer, like, especially if I'm going into a store, hey, I'll go and buy them a sandwich and a drink, and all of a sudden, well, you did it once, you know, so now we're best buds, right? No,
Yep.
I'm just trying to be a nice person, you know.
It's funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah. And because it was a neighborhood store, they knew where I was, you know. It's like,
God, that's the worst.
Actually,
that's
true story.
The worst.
I was streaming one night, and I had people watching my stream. I have a witness to this. All of a sudden, over the stream, because where I was, you could see out the front door, and I had the front door open with the screen door closed. You hear this lady, Paul. This was the lady in the middle, you know, like 8 o'clock at night, screaming to get my attention. I'm like, oh my
God. No. Apparently, Paul's been dealing with the sadness people for way longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Good God. So anyway, back to the subway. Jesus Christ.
Had a story, had to share, you know.
So back on the subway, a man with some sunglasses walks in on the train. Seems innocent enough until you see the tears go down his face. And he pulls out a knife. Chink. And he just starts stabbing everybody on the train. Anyone that's anywhere near him, he just starts stabbing them. He stabs a shit ton of people. Train erupts into a bloodbath, obviously. And this is where this is the only thing I don't fully understand with how their infection works. Because the guy in the shop earlier, the old woman spit on him. Makes sense, they're exchanging a body fluid. Of course, that's going to give them a virus, whatever. In this scene, they have the one dude who was stabbing everyone, and clearly he had been infected for whether he got Elven virus at some point, and that's why. But after all this shit is said and done, everyone else who was like bleeding out everywhere was not infected. However, one of the dudes who got bled on turns, like he suddenly becomes infected. This is where I'm a little confused of like.
Well, because it would transfer through blood. It would transfer through blood as well. Yes, it would. I mean, you know.
But it wasn't an infected person's blood. It was one of the people that he stabbed, because it's the dude he stabs him in the neck and it goes up. Yeah, and one of the people who got covered.
But his tear it seems to work fast, so maybe his tear hit the blood, and so you know. That
was the only nitpick. That was like a nitpick I had. Yeah. Like, why did the second guy in the subway turn? And then it's like everybody starts turning, and I'm like, but those people weren't infected. It would make sense if it was the dude in the glasses who stabbed himself, and then it's infected blood. But he was stabbing normal people, so it's like, why did that suddenly have everyone start turning?
That's what I'm saying. If blood infected the first guy he stabbed, if the tear infected the first guy he stabbed, all of a sudden it's in his blood, and then it's in their blood, and it's in their blood, and it's there, you know, and then it's the only thing I can think of to make it work. But either way, I don't care. I enjoyed the movie. So.
I enjoyed it too. That was my only nitpick, was the subway scene of how many people turned, and trying to piece it in my head of like, I don't get how they did, unless it's just that they were already infected and just seeing someone doing it turns them. I'm not sure.
I would also say, given the correlation with COVID, which this movie very much is.
Yes.
You know, there's the whole spit thing. There's the whole bodily fluid thing. The close contact thing. I mean, all of it. You know.
So before all this happened, the businessman had gotten up, and next to Kat has Molly that she sits next to. When everybody's turning, all this is going on, the businessman also turned. And he just abruptly shoves his umbrella into Molly's eye socket and starts calling them horrible names, all because they wouldn't let them talk to, like, they wouldn't let him talk to them. Like, he's just, it's become his, like, full goal is pretty girls wouldn't let me talk to him. I'm going to murder them. And that becomes his goal of this whole rest of the movie.
Yeah, and this is the guy they used to show that he still has cognitive thought, even though he's turned.
Yes.
That it's not just a madness that makes him attack whatever's in front of them. He has a target.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everyone starts getting off the train. Kat helps Molly escape from the subway. Businessman starts chasing them because he has one goal in mind, and that is to get Kat. He doesn't give a shit about anything else, so he's gonna chase her to the end of the earth. There's a dude who thinks he's gonna be like a tough guy, whatever, and the girls run into him, and he's all like, "What are you, fucking blind?" And then he sees the bloody guy, and he's like, "Oh my God, you are blind! I'm so sorry. What happened?" And then that's when they're like, "Oh, this dude, he's trying to hurt us. He's been chasing us." And he thinks he's going to be a big, tough man and look good for this really pretty girl that he just ran into. Dude gets fucked up because businessman pulls out a fire axe.
Yeah.
But even before the fire axe, he, like, latches onto his nose like he's an angry chihuahua and just rips it off.
Yep.
But yeah, then businessman just wants to ask him a question a couple times.
Yeah.
And then he chases after Kate and Molly again. Which there's like a subway guard or engineer. I'm not sure what he is. I assume like engineer or guard of the subway tunnels or something. Regardless, he starts shutting the like metal gate. Kat and Molly barely get through. And then, of course, they yell at the dude. They punch him in the face. And he's like, "Well, the police told me to shut it down, and I didn't know if you were crazy like everyone else. Like, everything's being shut down. I don't know what you want from me." They ask for where the hospital is. He points them in the direction. They all head to the hospital. Never a good thing to do in any kind of zombie infection.
As was made very clear in our last movie, Train to Busan was made very clear. Where do they take all the sick people?
Yeah. So, oh God. Then this is where we cut back over to Jim, and we see that the streets are absolute chaos. There's bodies everywhere. There's blood everywhere. There's crashed cars. There's burning buildings. Like everything that could be in chaos is in chaos right now. Yeah, he gets outside of the city, like the city part that he's in, and he's trying to go through a tunnel that'll take him down to like deeper downtown where he has to go. Tunnel's blocked off, bunch of cars all piled up. Makes sense. People are going crazy, just hitting each other, whatnot. So he has to take the long way around. He has to go around the mountain that the tunnel would take him through. And he's like, "Well, fuck me. All right, I guess I have to take the long way." He stops, he rebandages his hand, which is understandable. I get it. I would want to make sure that that's, taken care of. He tries looking for a weapon, and he finds like a hooked, like sugarcane blade. It's the only way I know how to describe that thing. Which is sharp, do the job for you, as long as you're, careful. But while he's doing so, he hears somebody crying out for help. Boy, will this scene make you feel uncomfortable, folks. He finds 4 teens who are beating the ever-living shit out of some dude. And the guy is saying, like, "Anything you want, I'll do anything. I'll do anything, just stop." and they hit him on the head with a baseball bat, and the guy falls to the ground. One of the teens goes, "I told you not to hit him in the head. It's not enjoyable if he's unconscious." And this is a scene where me and my buddy, Sergeant Redacted, watched this. The first time I watched this, I watched it with him. This made us wince. Because they wrap barbed wire around a pole, and they're like, let's do another atomic pole hit or something like that. Regardless, they pick this man up and they ram him into the barbed wire on the pole, right into the nuts. It just, it hurt us. And it's like, I know it's a movie, it's fake, but like, God, that just fucking hurts me to see. Jesus Christ.
Well, and then they start digging into his crotch like it's nobody's business. I mean,
yeah, they do. They go to town on this dude. Jim thinks he's being helpful. He runs up, he chases them off, and then he's like, "Oh man, I'll help you, whatever." And it turns out the dude's also infected, apparently, which kind of contradicts what they'll say later in the movie, but he's either infected or he's just extremely sadistic. I would like to believe that he's just extremely like masochist, sadistic kind of person. It was like into it, because there's something that they say later in the movie that makes this make absolutely no sense, and I will get to it when I get to it. So hopefully he's not infected. But anyway, regardless, the kids come back, start pelting Jim with baseballs. He takes off on his moped. He tried to be a good guy, and it just didn't work out that way. Cut back to Kat and Molly, who now arrive at the hospital, only to find that it's fucking shit. There's like 2 cops and a lobby full of people, and she asks what's going on. They're like, yeah, no, the ER shut down. They got overrun. There's not much we can do. There's just too much going on. Luckily, the police station's right around the corner, so we were able to get here, but we're kind of bare minimum on anything we can do. Molly gets her eye treated, and she thanks Kat for saving her life because she's always felt that no one thought she was important. So she thanks Kat for taking the time to save her, and it's actually kind of like a nice little touching, like, you were actually a really good person. Thank you. So yeah, they bandage up her eye. They get her a CT scan because they're like, hey, you might have a concussion or something worse because that just got shoved into your brain hole. So like, we're gonna check you out. This scene makes me laugh every time. It's just Jesus Christ. Because everyone is sitting around. They're looking at the TV. They're waiting for this urgent updated message to come in and to figure out what the hell is going on. So we get the president and the military on the TV, and the president gives this whole big speech about we're going to rise up as a country. We will defeat this. We are proud. We will do this. And then the general steps up. That he's like, you heard him. It's not political. It's just a disease, and we will take care of it. And he's explaining how it's the ratio they give out is fucked, by the way, because he's like 19 in 20 people will be turned. That infection rate is extremely high, and I'm like, yeah, no, that means everyone in a room is fucked except like one dude.
Yeah.
Jesus. Which is a problem, because as the general's explaining that, you see tears go down his face. That's right, the general's now infected. This is where it makes me laugh, and I can't help it. Because the general just grabs the president, pulls out a grenade, shoves it into his mouth, and blows his head up. And that's their end of their emergency broadcast. Everybody's like, what the fuck was that? Like, what just happened? And I'm like, yeah, no, I have the same question. Like, was that our leaders? Like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
So, people start arguing in the lobby about who's going to do what, how are they going to help with whatever. Kat borrows the phone from the subway guy. at the end, which he has to unlock for her because obviously she doesn't know his code, whatever, and it's locked. But she's going to try to get a hold of Jim. While this is all going on, everybody's arguing. The issue here, right? Here's the issue, folks.
Well, I have one real quick I want to ask you.
Yes.
How many phone numbers do you know by heart?
Absolutely
Current phone number.
none.
Current phone numbers that if you had to get a hold of somebody and you didn't have your phone.
I'd die.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. I love it in all these shows and movies where people just grab this phone and I happen to know the number I need. Bullshit. No, you don't. Okay.
There is only one phone number I still remember, and that is the phone number I grew up with.
Yeah,
and that is
only
because as a child, my parents made me remember that shit. It's like, no, you were going to remember this number. If you ever need anything, you know where to call.
Yep. Most people remember their child. Most people still know their childhood phone number, and that's it. Very few people take the time to.
What's my phone number? Couldn't fucking tell you, but I could tell you my number from like 30 years ago. I can remember that one.
No, I can tell you my phone number, but if I had to call my mother or my father or my sister right now, hey, that ain't happening.
Yeah, no.
Which is probably
bad.
Which is probably bad. You know, we probably should try and remember some phone numbers, but you know.
I know 911. That's an important one.
Yeah.
I don't need that in my contacts.
But they don't know what to do when you go, can you call my mother for me? They're like, what? No.
Yeah, they don't really appreciate that. But yeah, so while everyone's arguing in the lobby, Kat notices it because he looks directly at her. Because again, it's businessman. Because again, he the only thing he gives a shit about is getting to that woman specifically who rejected him earlier, who he thought was really beautiful. He's not going to let that one go, apparently. He throws his axe through the like glass door and kills the cop, which then just lets all the infected in. They all just start running through the door, and it just turns into chaos bloodbath again. Oh.
And again, as we're describing this, it may sound like there's some quiet time in this movie. Really, there isn't.
There's not. No. This movie's just nonstop. I just have to mentally prepare myself for... So all this happens. Kat gets away. She goes through the door. She goes, like, upstairs. Subway guy runs down the hallway, hides under a table that somehow hides him. I still question how the fuck he was able to hide under the thing he did. Businessman walks down the hallway. Unfortunately, there's someone else who was left in the hallway by the nurses while she got an IV drip after getting her CT scan so they could just monitor her. And that is Molly. This poor unlucky woman. Jesus Christ. He fucks her eye hole. All right, let's just throw it out there. If they don't cut from it, they don't even try to like teeter. Like no. They just give you full on woman screaming, and you know what's going on, and it's god damn. Fuck.
I haven't thought about this, and it's going to sound bad, but
it's already bad. You have a thought on this,
but I gotta figure because of the eye hole leads straight to the brain, which we know. So I mean,
yes,
he's got to be pretty small. I mean, seriously,
Yeah. Honestly, I had the same thoughts. You're not the only one.
Because the screaming doesn't stop. So you know you got to figure he's really not hitting he's not hitting the back of the board here. Yeah.
Oh. So back at Jim. Jim's made it to the city. Damn it.
I broke jokey. Yeah.
So Jim makes it back to the city, and Kat uses the subway person's phone to call him. And she has to explain to Jim, like, hey, you're not going to be able to text me or call me. This isn't my phone, blah, blah, blah. But essentially, they just come up with a plan of she's going to stay at the hospital. Jim's going to come for her. They're going to escape somehow, one way or another. They will figure it out. And this is where it becomes unfortunate for our main character. Because Jim has a hallucination. And then a tear, meaning that Jim is now also infected. And it's happening as he's on the call with Kat, who's trying to tell him that she loves him very, very much. Meanwhile, he's hallucinating some weird woman flicking her tongue out at him in a cesspool, and he's like, "What? What was that? Something about loving? Yeah, sure, love you too. All right, I'll see you there. Bye." Clicked. Like Jim's not okay. Jim has now become infected himself. If you've ever seen South Park, you'll understand. I may end up just including the little clip snippet of it in here just because fuck it. And, but blood orgy! Yay! Yeah, because when we come back to the hospital, the subway guy gets out from under the table, and that's what he walks in on. He just witnesses a straight-up blood orgy going on with the infected. Real fucked up. But, unfortunately for him, he also finds Molly, who says that she always had a hard time making friends, but she just needed to find the right people. And she takes Bonesaw, and the orgy people hold him down, and they...
See, now this is the part. This is why that missing scene doesn't make. Without that missing scene, you don't know where she got the bone saw, because I wasn't sure if it was a bone saw or if it was a. If you ever had a cast removed, they look a lot like a bone saw, but they're not sharp. And when you and they break the cast by vibrating, not by cutting.
Yeah.
That's why you can lay it against the skin; it doesn't cut you. And that's why I was like, because I was thinking, is that a bone saw? Because.
You know, it may. That's fair. I guess it could have been either one. I assumed Bonesaw. But
I don't know how they would have got it. I'm serious. I think it's. I don't think she cut whatever she was cutting into there. I think she just kind of stuffed it in there and let it vibrate him silly, because it. There's
a lot of chunks of shit that come flying up in his face. Yeah. That's why I'm like, I don't.
I mean, that's why. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking maybe it is, but. But again, where would it have come from? Because it wouldn't have been down in the ER. They don't tend to keep those down in the ER. They don't.
It's just on a table for some reason.
We need that. We need that shitting in your head thing. We need that scene. That's so where does that scene take place? Where does that scene take place? Where is it?
Yeah, you know what? That is a good point. I guess that's where that would have come from. And
yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huh.
It's the things I think about, that's why I have no friends.
I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah. So here, Kat gets chased upstairs, and she blocks off a door. But businessman, obviously, he finds her, and then we get a whole disgusting talk about what he just did to Molly and how it made him feel, and so on and so forth. And that's. Also, Molly turned, I assume, because he finished in her eye socket, as he put it. I assume that's probably why she turned. Jesus Christ.
Well, from what I can tell, you don't have to, but you don't have to die to turn.
Correct.
We've seen that with Jin, so I mean,
Yeah, these ones, these can die. They are just normal people who are being influenced by the virus. So in Molly's case, yeah, she didn't die, but she sure as hell got infected, apparently. She just had a real rough time.
Yeah, she had a lot of bodily fluids real close. Yeah.
Businessman walks down a hallway, turns a corner, and he happens to notice that there's a fire extinguisher missing from a pair. That's weird. He turns around and Kat sprays him in the face, and then she bashes his fucking brains in. And while she's doing so, Businessman even looks at her and says, "You're just like me, violent and cruel. Isn't it great?" And then she kills him off. Just, fuck that guy. After she does that, there's the other infected that were chasing her start to make their way to her. But she gets saved by a secret door. And it's Dr. Alan Wong, who we had seen earlier on the YouTube video talking about the Alvin virus. And we see he pulls her in, and he handcuffs her to a shower, and he pulls out a gun, and he tells her, "I don't know if you're infected or not, but that's a disinfecting shower, so we're going to run that, and we're going to take off any of the contaminated things, and see where it goes from there. But I can't trust you, so you're going to have to be handcuffed." She said, I don't know if you are or not. Wong makes her get in his contamination shower, wash off the blood, handcuffing, and then has a giant conversation about basically how the Alvin virus works while she's doing all this.
Yeah. It's exposition time. We've got time to kill. So, yeah.
Yeah, this turns into a very long exposition. Yeah, he was the one warning about the Elsa. It gives a speech about humans and how the virus affects the limbic system of the brain. He very much is like, the limbic system controls aggression and sex drive. Basically, your basic, like, a lot of your, like, emotional functions are held through that. And he's like, he has a whole discussion about, we think that we're higher beings because we can ration whatever. He's like, but the limbic system controls a lot of that, and if you lose that, there's a lot of things you lose control of. Basically, he's saying that the Alvin virus takes over that part of the brain so that the people who are doing horrible things, he's like, maybe they cry because they know they're doing something bad, but they can't help it. He's like, basically what this virus is doing is overloading their limbic system so that everything that they're doing, they're feeling to an extreme, but it's also taking away their ability to reason, ration, or think. He's like, so maybe they cry because they know what they're doing is horrible. Maybe they're crying because they know what they're doing is a crime. Who knows? All he does know is the virus doesn't kill the brain. It simply takes it over for its own purpose.
See, and I would also add, because of a businessman, that it seems like, in a way, he was doing what he wanted to do. So he wasn't,
Very much so. Yeah, because the doctor's like, yeah, people pull out their darkest desires, things they would never do in a million years. But that they don't seem to, that the infected don't attack other infected. And he said, I think it's because they need to enjoy it themselves, and the people who are receiving it need to not enjoy it for them to enjoy it. It's like a weird thing to twist on it. Going back to that earlier scene with the dude and the teens, that's the only scene in here where I'm like, that doesn't make sense for what you said. Because if the dude was infected and the teens were just beating the shit out of him, that completely goes against what you're saying here. Because then that would imply that the infected
maybe he hadn't turned at the point that they started.
Oh, I guess that could be too. That was my only little nitpick, was when they say that line, and I'm like, yeah, earlier in the movie, I don't think that's quite how it worked, but yeah. So he goes into this whole fucking speech, gives her some new clothes, he gives her scrubs to put on. This is where we get the twist that Alan Wong is not a good doctor. Turns out he's kind of a piece of shit. Because he brings up that they're in the maternity ward, and he tells her, like, oh yeah, this just has the biggest like most secure door. Maybe it's just people feel like their children are safe if there's that big security door. Whatever. It was the best place for me to do my research, not be bothered, because they're remodeling everything here anyway. But turns out Dr. Wong's evil as shit, because after he unhandcuffs Kat, and they're talking about how he's been looking at the virus, he's been working with it. She goes to throw her clothes away, and she finds out that there's a dead or infected baby in the fucking trash. Because turns out Mr. Wong, Mr. Dr. Wong, has been infecting the babies the entire time. And then he infects Kat and handcuffs her again and throws her in the shower. And then he proceeds to go on another rant about the infected would have killed them anyway. If the infected walked in and found them, they would have just murdered them anyway. So I gave them the virus so that at least maybe they wouldn't die. And who knows, maybe one would be immune. And then you'd have an immune baby who couldn't die. Unfortunately, they all died. It just seems that this one was a bit more tenacious. And then he kills it. So it's immediately like, yeah, no, he's evil. He's not a good man at all. And as I said, he infected Kat. He shot her with some of the blood, the virus, and then he tells her, in 5 minutes, if you're turned, I'll kill you. If you're not turned, I have a chopper coming on the roof, and they're going to fly us out. And if you're somehow immune and you're not showing signs, then I can use your blood to make a vaccine. Isn't that great? All of this baby death was worth it. Everything's been worth it if I can just make that vaccine, and you're going to be the way to do it. She doesn't turn in 5 minutes, so he proceeds to go, all right, we're going to go now. Also want to point out, because I forgot to write it on my notes, but I do remember for a thing that happens very quickly here. The pistol that he has, he clarifies that he had 3D printed it and that he just had leftover bullets from his military service, but he has it just in case things got too crazy, and he's glad that he has it now. Kat also grabs the phone that she had. She breathes on it so she can see the pattern. And Jim's at the hospital already, so she just basically tries to tell him, like, this is where I'm at, whatever. She's not infected, so they head to the roof. Kat notices immediately that the axe on the floor is missing. Should have listened to her. Should have listened to her. Should just take it a minute, listen to what she said. Because immediately the axe comes flying around the corner and chops Wong's foot in half. And he falls backward, and then he shoots that infected in the head. He's safe. He's good. He's grand. All good. But there was a second one. So the second one pukes on his foot. Because why not?
Yep.
God, it's... Ugh. Yeah, and then they shoots that guy. And then Wong makes Kat get him up, and he's like, we got to get to the chopper. And then she even tells him, like, I don't think they're going to take you like this because I'm pretty sure they'll know you're infected, but whatever. But it's okay. She's going to get saved because Jim shows up. Good old Jim. Jim has arrived. But Jim's super infected now. So, yeah.
Yep.
So Wong shoots once, clips him in the neck, shoots again, misses. This is where it's important to note that it's a 3D printed gun, because when he goes to shoot a third time, the gun overheats and explodes. Because that's how those work. They're not meant to do a shit ton.
But really, they wouldn't overheat and explode like that either. But that just, whatever.
But yeah, so that happens. Jim kills him, hooks him in the throat. Wong's dead. Kat takes his keys. She runs to the door to the roof. She gets through just in time. The ending of this movie is really Jim explaining that becoming infected, talking to her, he realized that his purpose in life is her, and that when she called him, he knew he had to come to her, and then it turns into the dark that he's infected, where it's like, I'm going to peel your skin off real slow and nice, and we're going to be together forever, I'm going to chop you up into little pieces, and blah, 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 and it's just like, went from like, I love you so much to like, holy shit, dude. Like, goddamn. Yeah, so Kat loses it. She just fucking loses it at this point because, like, she's lost everyone. Even the one person that she was trying to get to is gone now. So, yeah, she walks out to the roof.
She was probably thinking, does this mean the trip is off? Do I
have to get a refund now? Yeah, she walks out to the roof, and the movie ends with the camera panning back to a dying, dead Jim's face because he's bled out from his neck wound. But he's smiling and all happy, covered in blood, and then we hear gunshots from the helicopter. Because, fun fact, they were waiting for Dr. Wong, and seeing some random woman walk out, they assume she's infected. So you just hear a bunch of gunfire open up, and then the movie cuts to credits.
Again, no happy endings. No happy endings, yeah.
No one lived. Everyone fucking died.
Which was kind of a callback to Night of the Living Dead. Remember the end of that one, too?
Correct. But also, I think Kat... I think it's implied that Kat started to show signs when she was crying. I think that was the whole point of that, is that
and
she got injected with it.
But she wasn't crying because of that. She was crying because of the loss of her love.
It was because of Jim, but I think that's kind of what's implied with the way they ended.
But they assumed. I don't think she turned. I don't think she turned because she hadn't turned within 5 minutes. So I think the tears were honest, but the guys in the helicopter wouldn't know that.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's fair. Yeah, so I mean, either way,
yeah.
Kat got shot to death, and
it's a sadder ending the way I describe it, though, which is probably the correct way. So I'm just saying.
Maybe, I don't know. This movie makes some choices. But yeah, so that's a sadness.
If you've never watched this movie, you have to watch this movie at least one time.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, especially if you're into zombie movies, you want something that's more unique. This one will definitely give you more unique. I'll tell you that much. But as I said right in the beginning, just be fully aware there's a lot of shit in this movie that might make you go, oh, it's gonna be a lot of that. This movie's really good at doing that. But no, I had this one recommended to me from. God, it was on YouTube forever ago. Someone mentioned it, and it sounded neat, so I checked it out. And since watching it, I was like, no, that actually was pretty good. So go check it out if you want. Always follow us at CerebralPaul1 over on the Twitters, or CerebralPaul. Is it just CerebralPaul everywhere else?
Yeah, there is just CerebralPaul on the YouTube and the Twitch. Yes. And I do have new content coming up on the YouTube really soon, and I want to start streaming more on the Twitch. So go to both of them. Sign up with both of them.
Go check it out. You can also follow us at OddcastN. Go check out the second channel, Jokey's Gaming Void. There's stuff going on over there too. So stay on, stay happy. Of course, folks, don't bring things back from the dead. Don't betray the puppets. Don't go to a witch for revenge. Never prank your friends as a serial killer. I'm trying to think of one for the sadness, but like, I don't really know if there's any rules that will help you in this. If you see people crying and murdering other people, just take it as a loss. Just that there's not really any rules I could give you in this movie. If you're in a zombie thing, don't get bit, things like that. Don't share fluids. But for the most part, folks, just stay on, stay happy. We'll catch you whenever we catch you next, and stay on the horror train for Oddtober. We'll catch you later. Bye. I don't know if I'm ever going to watch The Sadness again. Seen it, I think, like 3 times now, and I think 3 times might be my limit of like, oh, God damn.
Like I said, I forgot about some of that stuff, but yeah,
God, yeah.
I can't.
There's so much in there.